people who make New Year's resolutions fail by January 15? Not surprising, right? Because what are New Year's resolutions? They're like, oh, I'd love to do this and I'd love to have that. And with every new year brings opportunity and brings excitement and the year ahead. I mean, there's something about, going from the 31st to the 1st and all of a sudden it's like everything's changed, but not really. That doesn't surprise me at all because I am a goal setter and have been for a very, very long time. I document them. I'm going to talk to you about that in just a sec, but it doesn't surprise me at all because we all daydream and we all have fantasies and we all have that creative side of our brains that allows us to do that. But so little people take it into action. They kind of just leave it there. So it's great to say, I would love to lose 5 kilos. I would love to save 10 grand. I want to do that holiday this year. I want to finish that course I started 5 years ago. I want to ask for that promotion. I want to increase my income. Whatever it is, I want to spend more time with my kids. That's all well and good, but bottom line, what are the actions you're taking to make those things happen? And have you written them down? You've got to write them down because all the gurus and all of the successful people in life document their goals. Do you know by writing down your goals, you're 50%, you have more of a chance, 50% more chance of achieving those goals than if you don't? And here's another little kicker. If you share them with your community, with your trusted people, it's another sticky point. It sticks a little bit more. So it's incredibly important to write them down. Don't just, fantasize about it. Write it down, share it with your trusted people, and then put some action steps into making it happen. So this is my take on SMART goals. It's out there. You can find it on Mr. Google. You know how I love Mr. Google. But here's my take on SMART goals. So what I do is I start with SMART being S-M-A-R-T. Let's start with S. S is specific. So you can't just say, oh, I want more money in the bank for a rainy day. That's not a goal and that's not specific. That's just a statement that we make. So what would it look like? I'm going to use this example through each one of those. So if we said, so that's a non-specific goal. You're not specific enough. You need to be able to say something like this. I want to have $60,000 in my emergency fund in the next 12 months. That's a goal, right? That's a specific goal. This is where we're being specific about what we actually want to achieve. The M is for measurable. You can't manage, you can't control what you can't measure. It's incredibly important to be able to measure this. So the measurement piece is the 60 grand is fine over 12 months, but how about we break that down into little bite-sized pieces? Because 60 grand is like overwhelming, right? It's like, oh my God, how am I going to get 60 grand? Simple. Let's break it down into months. If you need to break it down into fortnights, do that. Whatever it takes. But if you said, I'm going to save $5,000 a month every single month, 5 12s are 60 grand, right? So you're getting my drift here? Same example, being specific, being able to measure it. And we need to measure the long-term end, like we need to have that end goal, and then those milestones along the way, month by month, and tick, tick, tick. It's awesome. And what that also does is it keeps the motivation going and builds confidence as well, which is incredibly important. Because, life gets in the way. Life's busy. We've got 1,000,001 things to do. So we need to stay focused and we need to stay on track. So those little milestones along the way are incredibly important. A, so S-M-A, we're at A. It needs to be achievable. And what I mean by this is I'm by no means saying, don't stretch yourself, because I always say to my team and I always say to my kids, if your goals are a to-do list, like a tick list, that's not a goal. It's really not a goal. If you can just do that stuff without stretching yourself, without coming outside of your comfort zone, remember we spoke about the status quo, you've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And you've got to get uncomfortable and stretch yourself. Otherwise, it's not a goal. It's just another tick list to do. Yeah? So achievable needs to be stretchy, but achievable also needs to be realistic to a point where if you set a goal and say, I want to save $1 million in 12 months, that's kind of not really achievable, is it? Yeah, particularly if you're on 80, 90, whatever, 150 grand, whatever your income may be. It needs to be achievable. We need to be realistic around these goals that we're setting. It needs to fit in. R is for relevance, yeah? What is relevance? It needs to be relevant to your why and your values. This is where setting goals based on other people's stuff, based on what you're seeing on social media, and I'm guessing now, given that we're all home, most of us are home in hibernation and isolation, we're probably on social media more than we've ever been. We're probably watching people like me more than you ever have been. And we need to make sure we're true to thyself in setting goals. Don't set goals just because you see somebody else succeeding, doing this, doing that, doing this, and feeling like you're frazzled and feeling like you're not achieving anything and everyone else is doing stuff, but what the hell are you doing? Stop that right now and don't do that. That's not fair to yourself, and that is not going to get you anywhere other than down. What you need to do is do the work. Go back. Remember, it all starts here. It all starts with the individual person. Uncover your why and your purpose. Watch Simon Sinek. If you don't like him, find another way. But he's a great source. Uncover, discover your true values as an adult. Do those things, because these things are what will make the goals stickier. Because when times get tough and life gets busy, as I said to you, and when you've got so many things on your plate, if the goal you've set doesn't stick to, has no relevance to your why and your values, do you reckon you're going to commit to that? Or what's going to happen? You're going to just let it slide, right? Because it's really not who you are. It really wasn't that important. I guess it was more around those trying to be like everybody else. And even as we grow up and grow older and we think, God, can't believe I did that, I'm a grown woman, we all fall into those traps by watching everybody else, because we are more connected now digitally than we've ever been before in our lives. So they must be real goals. They must be these value-based goals that I'm talking about, and they can't be these superficial things that just because somebody else is doing it, we should be doing it too. Not everything is good for everyone. And finally, T is time. We need to set a deadline. Absolute deadline needs to happen, because if you say, with that example, right, if you say, I want to save 60 grand in 12 months, if you want to say, 60 grand, well, by when? Yeah? When you set that deadline, it all of a sudden gives you the parameters within which you're working. It sets a pathway, and all of a sudden it stops that procrastination. You go, whoa, I better get on my bike. Let's get going. Let's start doing this thing, yeah? So that example that I've said about saving 60 grand in 12 months must be measurable. As I said, 60 grand in 12 months, because that's specific. It needs to be measurable, which we have measured, and we've broken it down into little bite sizes of 5 grand a month. It is achievable because based on my income and based on my situation, let's say it's achievable. And also it's relevant to me. Why? Because I value financial independence. I value being able to stand on my own 2 feet. I value strength. I value empowerment. I need money to be able to support me with those values. Because if times get tough and I don't have that backup, I'm not going to be too happy, am I? No, it's going to go against my grain of who I am and what I stand for, and it's going to feel extremely frustrating. So it's absolutely relevant to who I am and my why, and setting the T for time gives it a deadline, stops procrastination, and allows us to make sure that we know the parameters within which we're working. So there it is. SMART goals. Google it, you'll find it. If you want more information, send me a message on this. Please give me a feedback on Simon Sinek. I'd love to know about that. But I hope this was really, really helpful to you. It's the way that I set goals, and I can't tell you how important it is. Get it out of your head. Because here's another quick thing. People that say, I've got these goals in my head, I know what I'm doing. No, I'm sorry, I'm just going to disagree. I'm going to put it out there and say, nah, you don't know. Because you've got 15,000 thoughts going on in your mind on a daily basis, and that is in there jumbling up like a fruit salad type thing, yeah? You got to get it out of there. You got to put it in front of you. Some people say you should even carry them around. You got to share it with your community, your trusted people, and you should read it every single day and you should tick it off. And the most important thing around all of these goals is you need to set those specific measures. You need to make sure that it's specific, that it's measurable, that it's achievable, it's relevant to who you are and what you stand for, and there is a time-specific frame around that.